So I would like to start with the this concept of dialectics suggested by Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel. Now, this German philosopher was the first one to say that there is no absolute truth and there is no absolute lie. Everything has both the sides. We have to consider that not only are we our greatest enemies, but also our greatest friends. So let us now take some very common examples that we have all experienced in some or the other phases of our life, and we'll derive a particular pattern from what we see. I'm going to take two examples. So first of all, glossophobia or stage fright. We've all experienced this kind of nervousness that we face when we are going onto a stage to perform something. The second one, conservatism. I'm not talking about the political conservatism, but yes, everyone here has faced this, that when you have achieved something, you're at the top of a mountain, you're too afraid to go down the mountain and start a new path because you don't know what you will become. So why do we fear? What I find is the most convincing one of them is it is because of our identities. Now, our identities are what we recognize ourselves to be. What everyone gets wrong is that we are confused of what to consider our identities. What we are born with should not define who we are. I believe that ego is, when you think about, you don't think about other people, you become self-sufficient, you think that you can solve your own problems and start ignoring others. When we separate from our loved ones, we are left alone and we may not be able to survive alone. And that is why we make up this armor, this mechanism around ourselves called ego. We become our greatest enemies by two major things. First one is fear, the second is ego. And what brings them up is the same thing that makes us. The same thing, our identities. Right, so I thought about a few solutions, and these are the solutions. The first one is accept yourself. The second one is accept others. The third one is to remove your armor of ego. This ego won't help you to do anything. Even though you may succeed, it would be for no reason at all and would not benefit you in your life. The fourth one, I feel, is it's okay to be a nobody. Everyone thinks that we won't be anyone special. Okay, we would be some nobody somewhere. But that doesn't mean you can't be someone special, right? The fifth one, think and then say. Like before saying something, okay? You have to think, does it insult their identity? Does it make them feel that we are not accepting them? The last thing is being brave. So being brave doesn't mean that you are fearless. Okay, that many people don't understand, and as rightly said by Bear Grylls, being brave isn't the absence of fear. Being brave is having the fear and still finding a way through it.
I firmly believe that your mind and your thoughts play a very important role in molding yourself, and then that depends you are your enemy or you are the best friend. This is a story by Vijay Lakshmi Pandit, and the title of the story was The Best Advice I Ever Had. So it was the time when Vijay Lakshmi Pandit's husband had died, and this was the time when an antiquated British law was practiced in India, in regard to which, as a widow without a son, she was not entitled to any share of the family property, nor were her two daughters. And there were members in her own family who supported this antiquated law. And this situation, which didn't seem in her favor, was swallowing in her within. And she was deeply shaken by the support of her relatives to this cruel law and wanted to dissolve all her attachments with her relatives until she met Mahatma Gandhi. Now let's see what happened when she met Mahatma Gandhi. When she met Mahatma Gandhi, he asked her whether she had reconnected with her relatives. And she replied that she would refuse to meet them for they were harming her. And this is when Gandhiji replied, "No one can harm you except yourself." And after days of struggle with herself, she convinced herself to meet her family. And as she visited her family members, she sensed that her visit had brought a relief to everyone. And she said, the effect on me was miraculous. I felt as if a great burden had been lifted and I was free to be myself. So I would just like to conclude with the quote that if we win ourselves, we have won the world. And definitely, if we work on ourselves, we can create a marvelous and extraordinary society.
I would like to add that example that Kamya presented of that story. In that, I don't think it was really right of her to forgive her. Forgiving is okay, but she should have at least identified that her relatives were wrong in that. It is not right to blame ourselves for everything.
I would like to support Myra's point from the Indian mythology like the Mahabharata. Even Draupadi could have forgive the Kauravas, even the Pandavas could have forgive them, but even Lord Krishna did not ask the Pandavas or Draupadi to forgive them. Then we should not accept everything as right.
But I disagree. See, the main point of the story of Vijay Pandit Lakshmi was that she was fighting with herself instead of fighting with those who are wrong.
For her, she didn't do it to achieve the absolute right, or to make the world a better place. She did it for herself, for a good mental state.
I think forgiveness is only the right thing to do if they improve themselves. We can't just accept anything that others do, right? And just blame it on ourselves.
See, I'm just telling one thing, that forgiveness is not synonymous with acceptance. Okay, forgiveness, you can forgive. Okay, but that doesn't mean you would accept what they say. Okay, that is different. You will fight for good. Okay.
You will be happy after forgiving a person, but the person who might have hurt you, he also goes into a deep introspection that what have I done wrong. Also, he might have managed to convince himself aesthetically that he has done the right thing, but somewhere inside himself he would be feeling guilty about it.